Here's a good one for you. You know where the word slave comes from? Because I got to tell you something, Dr. Paul. You have really enlightened me. There are no slaves. There are people who are enslaved. And that makes a big difference. Because when an enslaved person is freed, he's just a person. When a slave person is freed, he's a slave who's free. But right. The word slave was actually used for Slovaks. Yeah. Well, Slovakians or, I'm sorry.
I'd say Slovaks.
Slovaks, yes. And it was back along, these are white slaves. This has nothing to do with black. These were white slaves, and they used to say, give me a Slav. Isn't that correct, Paul?
Yeah, in Slav. And that, I think the term goes back to like 800 AD. And I think it was written in English a few years later, like 1300 to 1280 AD, that people started to write this down, make it designated. But that Slavic group is was actually a very, very large group that stretched across Russia and the northern tiers of Europe. I think it's the biggest linguistic group in general, and took in a lot of people from Russia, the Ukraine, Central Asia, depending on how you defined it. But initially, it was not Africans in terms of that.
No, slaves have been around since the beginning of time. Right. One group beats another group. They take that group and they become slaves. What the hell is the problem here? It's not a black issue. We have black slaves who are enslaved by black people. We have white people. The worst white tragedy in the world is happening before our eyes with Russia and Ukraine. They're bombing them every day. It's white on white crime. But let's go to something good.